Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone and welcome to my presentation. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dyah Pikanthi Diwanti from Muhammadiyah University of Yogyakarta. In my presentation, I would like to present my presentation about the effect of learning motivation and social support on learning achievement of the students in Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan, Yogyakarta. The aim of this presentation is to show how learning motivation and social support influence the learning achievement of the student at Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan, Yogyakarta. In my presentation, I will focus on four major issues. They are my research background, research methodology, finding and discussion, and the last is conclusion. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Now, I would just like to give you some background information about my research. The first, education is the main component in improving life quality. Through education, an individual will be able to develop her or herself and explore many things. Education doesn't only relate to skills and knowledge, but also moral value. Basically, education is the absolute right of every child. In reality, education fulfillment for children has been practically difficult to establish. The second, orphanage. Orphanage is a social welfare operational institution that is responsible to provide social welfare services to abandoned children by conducting social support and elevation program, including parental substitute services for fulfilling physical, mental, and social needs, so that the children may have better, more accurate, and more appropriate chance to develop themselves as the future generation of the nation, as well as an individual who will actively contribute to the national development. And the last of this section is the setting of my research, Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan. Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan is one of the orphanage which has been accredited under Muhammadiyah organization. Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan has an institutional curriculum in the form of semi-Islamic boarding school as Madrasah Diniyah, or an institution which focuses on teaching religious education exists within it. Let's move to the next point, my research methodology. Okay, there are 5 points here. The first, research design. The research method used was quantitative method. And the second, population and sample. The population in this research was student in Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan, Yogyakarta. In this research, 40 respondents were chosen as the sample. The third is about data collection technique. The method used in this research was the Likert scale questionnaire and documentation method is investigating relevant or valid data in the form of notes, transcripts, books, newspaper, magazine, inscription, meeting minutes, agenda, and the others. Independent variable or X, which is learning motivation and social support behavior. Development variable or Y, which is learning achievement. And the last for this point is instrument test. There are 2 points here, validity test and reliability test. Validity test is the level of measurement to measure what is supposed to be measured. And reliability test is the index which shows what extent something is relatively consistent if there is 2 times or more measurement. Okay, now I will talk about in the next slide. There are 3 points here: classical assumption test, data analysis method, and hypothesis test. For classical assumption test, there are 3 points: multicollinearity test, normality test, and heteroscedasticity test. And from data analysis method, prerequisite analysis test, and linearity test. And the last, from hypothesis test, there are partial significant tests or T-tests, simultaneous tests or if, and R determination tests. Let's move to the next slide. It's about discussion. Okay, you will see 3 tables here: table 1, table 2, and table 3. In table 1, okay, allow me to explain one by one. In table 1, the highest percentage of table 1 is 52.5%, representing the age range of 13 to 16 years old, with the total number of 21 respondents. The highest percentage of table 2 is 65.0%, representing the duration in the orphanage of 1 until 5 years, with total number of 26 respondents. And the last of this point, in table 3, the highest percentage of table 3 is 42.5%, representing the school degree of senior high school, with total number of 17 respondents. Okay, let's move the next slide. Data collection result, and they are divided validity tests and reliability tests. Okay. According to Asad and Utama in 2018, validity measurement is taken by comparing the value of R count with R table. The sample in this study was 79 people. As a result, the R table having a significant level of 0.05 with a total number of data, which was 79, is 0.221. If the R count is greater than the R table and is positive, the statement or indicator is considered as valid. And reliability test. Reliability test is the test to measure to extent to which the measuring instrument tasked is in checking the stability and accuracy of the data in the study from Sugiono in 2015. If the measurement used do not change when the reobservation is carried out and the results obtained are accurate and stable, it can be declared as reliable. The analysis if alpha value is greater than the R table, the question can be said to be reliable and or vice versa from Widianto in 2010. Okay, let's move to the next slide. In my slide, you can see 3 tables here, table 4, table 5, and table 6. Allow me to explain each of item. In table 4, it can be seen that the VIF value is below 10. The value for motivation is 1.895 and for social support is 1.895. As an addition, the talent value is more than 0.10, which is motivation 0.50. And social support is 0.528. Therefore, it can be concluded that there is no multicollinearity in this study, so this research word to be taken. From table 5, the significant value for motivation is 0.061 and for social support is 0.657. From this result, it has a value more than 0.05, which means there is no heteroscedasticity. It shows that there is heteroscedasticity in the regression model. Hence, regression model is appropriate to be used in predicting the variable test. From table 6, you can see this table. It can be seen that the same value significant to tau is 0.463, meaning that it has value of more than 0.05. As a result, the data are normally distributed. Okay, the next slide is multiple regression analysis. You can see here determination coefficient tests are in table 7 and simultaneous significant tests in table 8. You can see here the result. From table 7, the value of adjusted R square is 0.533, which means that learning achievement is influenced as many as 53% by the variable of motivation and social support. Therefore, the remaining 47% is explained by other variables other than the model in this study. It can be concluded that the independent variables affect learning achievement. From table H, simultaneous significant tests or statistical F-tests. It can be seen that the value of significant is 0.000 and F-count value is 23.225. With a significant level of 5% and the F1 equal to K minus 1 equal 3 minus 1 equal to K is the parameter in the model NDF2 equal NK equal 40 minus 3 equal 37. N is the amount of research data and K is the number of parameters in the model. The score of F table, which is 3.25, is obtained. The value of F con, which is 23.225, is greater than the value of F table, which is 3.25, and the value of significance of 0.000 is smaller than 0.05. These results indicate that the variable of motivation and social support simultaneously have a positive and significant influence of learning achievement. Okay, let's move to the next slide about individual parameter significance tests or statistical t-tests. You can see table number 9. The test of hypothesis 1 or H1, and according to the table 9, it is found that the value of the variable of motivation is 0.006. This result indicates that the significant value is less than 0.05 and the value of T-con is 2.940, which is greater than the T-table, which is 2.026. Thus, it can be concluded that hypothesis 1 is accepted. It suggests that a motivation has a positive and significant influence of learning achievement. The test of hypothesis 2 or H2. Based on table 9, it can be seen that the value of social support is 0.019. This result indicates that the significant value is less than 0.05 and the T-con value of 2.446 is greater than the T-table, that is 2.026. Thus, it can be concluded that hypothesis 2 is accepted, that is, social support has a positive and significant influence on learning achievement. Okay. In my next slide, allow me to explain about the supporting condition at Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah, Serangan, Yogyakarta. This number 1, the existence of the student who are the orphans living and participating in learning activities that are supported by a number of achievements of orphans who participate in competition. And the existence of the boarding, that is the facility provided by the orphanage supporting the learning process, such as a teaching learning rooms, a computer room, and the others. And next, the existence of the musola or Islamic praying room as a religious activity done with the caregivers and educator. There is a structure of the caregivers and administrator, and the last, the existence of a curriculum that is under the guidance and education unit in Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah, namely formal education conducted in their school, respectively, and informal education organized by the orphanage through Dinia school. Okay, and the last in my slide is conclusion. As you can see from this slide, there are several conclusions here of my research. However, there are only 3 points to highlight. Okay, number 1 is based on the respondent characteristic test. It shows that the respondent aged 13 until 16 years, as many as 21 people out of 40 respondents, with a percentage of 52.5%. This means the most foster children are in senior high school. Next, based on the respondent characteristic test, it is known that the number of respondents living in the orphanage for a length of 1 until 5 years was 26 people, with a percentage of 65.0%. This means that the orphans have already has a sense of belonging to the orphanage from their learning activities, so that it becomes a strength as the support obtained are from the surroundings. And the last point conclusion, in table 7 shows that the value of adjusted R-square is 0.533. It's meaning that learning achievement is influenced as many as 53% by the variable of motivation and social support. The remaining 47% is explained by other variables and than the model in the study. Thus, it can be concluded that the independent variable affect learning achievement. Okay, here in my slide you can see 3 pictures. Number 1 is musola at Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah, and number 2 is the office at Panti Asuhan Yatim Putri Aisyiyah Serangan, Yogyakarta, and the last picture you can see a display of the achievement student here. Okay, well, that's all. Thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.